Hey everybody, so happy new year to all of you guys for this year 2024. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic and prosperous new year. I wanted to do a quick sort of live video here. Still working out all of the kinks, so let me know as you join in if you're hearing the audio or if you see any issues or anything like that as it goes online. But I wanted to talk a bit about doing your marketing for 2024. Of course, if you're just joining me here, I've been running my lawn care business now. This 2024 will be my 19th season in my lawn care business. So I've got quite a bit of experience over the past years marketing my business and trying out different things. Of course, if you guys follow me on the different social platforms, whether it's here on YouTube, on my Instagram, and of course, I've just recently started TikTok as well. But like I said, for today, I wanted to, I've been thinking about doing these lives and coming on just to get sort of that interaction with you guys, to be able to answer comments live and things like that. And I can see some of you guys are joining in. Nicholas is asking how much do you charge? We'll get into that in a little bit. But for today's topic, I mainly wanted to focus on lawn care business growth strategies for 2024. These are things, as a lot of you guys know, that through my podcast and stuff, and through my own experience in the past 19 or 18 seasons, now going on to my 19th season, that I've had a lot of experience in building my customer base and doing that to the point now. And I'll show you some examples when I talk about some of the marketing strategies that I would use if I was a new lawn care business. And these are a lot of the case scenarios here that I'm going to be talking about are things that you could classify in the do as I say, not as I do, because a lot of these things I don't even do anymore because I'm at sort of the capacity of clients and regular clients that I like, and and maintain it at that. So I'm not actively pursuing looking for more clients because I'm at a comfortable level now, and just sort of replacing clients as I go and sort of picking the cream of the crop in that. So there'll be some examples that I'll be talking about that are things that I just don't do anymore. But if I was starting from scratch, I would definitely be doing those types of things. So again, today's strategy or topic is lawn care business growth strategies for 2024. So hopefully you guys are all doing good, and happy new year to all of you guys that have joined currently. So nice to see a lot of you guys joining in here. So we got Nicholas asking how much do I charge, and like I said, we'll get into that. Andrew Martinez, hey Andrew, how's it going? He's saying hello, so hello to Andrew. And Tyler is asking how can I get started in lawn care and landscaping business, and how to brand my company and how to grow. So all fantastic questions, and we'll get into all of those as well. So through, as I said, the podcast and being able to interview a bunch of entrepreneurs, I'm just going to get right into it. The number one growth strategy for your lawn care business, and this is something that when if a lot of you guys know, I started out buying into a franchise. So I bought into that lawn care franchise because I thought that by having this sort of reputable brand that was already established in the community, I would see all of their trailers out on the road and all that sort of stuff, and on all of the trailers they had a ask me about my my franchise and things like that, right? And so I remember driving behind, and I kept seeing this company and all these trailers, and obviously they were a franchise. So for me, with all of my previous businesses, being very introverted, just my nature, the way I am, the biggest and hardest thing that I had was that. The biggest hardest thing that I had was just being able to talk to people and go out and talk to people. And you can see even here talking live, you have that sort of brain process and sort of a thing, sort of trying to get the words out. But it was that part of it. And a lot of my past businesses, I had a sign business doing like decals and stuff like you'd see on your trailers and trucks and stuff like that. I had a mobile sign business doing that. I had a security window bar business where I was literally welding up window bars for businesses and things like that, and also getting window bars prefabricated from other companies and just basically reselling them and installing them for people. So there was a lot of past business among a whole bunch of other ones. And I can attribute those past businesses all failing due to one reason, and that was me. So it was me because I was so shy, so introverted, that the whole behind the scenes part of it and the whole, thinking about marketing and all that sort of stuff, I could come up with all those ideas, but I found it difficult to put them into practice, to actually get myself to get over that sort of shyness and introvertness to get out there and do that. So I thought by buying that franchise business that, hey, it's this big company, it's like a McDonald's or a Starbucks or a Subway or something like that, where people recognize that brand. So I thought, hey, those customers are going to come to me automatically. But that wasn't the case. You still had to go out there. You still had to market yourself, because the calls that were coming through to that head office and stuff like that weren't necessarily going directly to you, right? There was there was 80 guys at the time. So it was still few and far between. You still had to go out there and figure it out. And ultimately, I left the franchise after 5 years because I thought, well, if I have to do this on my own anyways, I'm back to square one. And there's no point in me paying franchise fees every month to these guys to market my business and stuff if I'm the one that has to go out there and pound the pavement and do it all myself anyways. So I decided to leave the franchise and start on my own. But this time I had the why behind me. Why was it that I was going to go into business for myself? A lot of the times with the failures that I had previously, I always had, the backup plan, the plan B in the background. There was always another job, another side job, another whatever the case may be. And that a lot of times can be the cause of your lack of determination and your lack of success in what you're doing, because you always have that in your back of your mind that you can fall back on that particular plan, that it's not as motivating because money is coming in that other scenario. But when you focus on just the plan A, like it's this or nothing, then it takes it up a notch. And that's where I came to. I don't want to get into the full story. I've talked about it a million times on my podcast about my wife, the previous job I was having where she was having a baby, and I had booked time off knowing that she was going to have a C-section and wasn't going to be able to handle the baby and stuff. So I wanted to take the time off about 2 months in advance. Long story short, a couple days before I was scheduled to leave, they told me I couldn't have the time off now because they just had to fire somebody and was going to be short. And I was like, are you kidding me? And they basically told me that if I didn't show up for work, that next day or whatever the day was that I was scheduled to come back, they said, don't bother showing up at all. And I was just like in shock, right? So at that moment, I made the decision that I would never, ever work for somebody else again. And that was my why. That was the thing that finally put me over the hump of thinking, motivating me over my shyness and my introvertness and all that sort of stuff to do what I needed to get done to build the business. So that was one of those things. So over the course of the past 18 years, I've had lots of experience. I've tried lots of things. I've talked about it, weekly on my podcast. For a lot of you guys that follow me there as well, every Tuesday, I've got the Lawn Care Business Success podcast that I put out, and that is something that I've been doing since 2015, every Tuesday consistently. So that has been one of those things that I've talked about a lot on the podcast there. So through the course of doing my own business, and when I finally left that franchise system, I thought, leaving the franchise, starting from scratch. I actually timed it with moving to a different part of the city, because part of my agreement with that franchise was you couldn't work in that area, in your territory, as they called it, for at least 1 year. So I thought, well, if I can't work in this area, the perfect time to leave the franchise is when I'm moving to a completely different part of the city, because I won't want to come all the way back here anyways to work. So I'm going to start from scratch. And it was actually the perfect time. So what I thought at that time was, it's going to take me like 3-4 years to build that customer base again, to get back up to where I was, and hopefully surpass that I was with that franchise system. And what I learned was that I was able to do that not in 3 years. I was able to do that in less than one season, in literally the first 6 months of going out on my own and being able to do that. So that was a huge boost for me to see the practical ideas that I had of marketing and all that sort of stuff. So one of the key things that I did was, during that last year, was preparing for my transition to going on my own. In fact, while I was still with that franchise company, I was already researching my brand name, my company names, all that sort of stuff, figuring out, getting all that ready so that for the next season, I would be hitting the ground running. And one of the things that I did was I built a website in the off season, in the winter, in this period of time right now. And one of the reasons I did that was because it can take Google and the search engines a few months to get that up and running and regularly viewed on their website, or on their search engines, I should say. So I was able to do those things at this time of year. And it's really important because of the fact that the lawn care season is usually, depending on where you live, of course, some of you guys are working year round, or are fortunate enough to be in places where you can work year round. But where I am here in the Pacific Northwest, the season runs from basically March through to November, give or take. Every year is a bit different. And this year it's looking pretty crazy. It's pretty mild. It feels like I'm going to be mowing lawns next week with how mild it is, and the buds on the trees and stuff. We've had no snow, can go outside in a t-shirt and stuff. So every year is kind of different. And you got to kind of play it by ear. But what I learned, the thing that I did, the biggest thing that I discovered, where in the first year I was dropping off flyers and doing kind of the usual things, going door to door, targeting the area that I wanted to work in. But one thing that I did differently was I was able to do a Google My Business profile. Now, this is something that if you guys have listened to the podcast, if you've listened to the interviews that I've done, this is something that I have asked other people about, other law entrepreneurs about. And it's one of those consistent things that keeps coming up time after time as sort of the most important thing that they do. Their number one marketing hack or strategy is having one of these Google My Business profiles. And as you can see here from the side view here, everything now is mobile. It's all on this little thing here, your phones, whether it's your iPhone, your Android, whatever the case may be. And it is one of the number one ways that your business is going to be found. Now, the great thing about a Google My Business profile, it's absolutely free for you guys to join up on. You just search out Google My Business. It's going to bring up this page here that you see on the screen, where you can sign up for an account and put all of your business information on there. And the thing about Google My Business and how they make it work is that once you first initially sign up, it may be different. It's been a few years and they're constantly tweaking it and changing it. But originally, when I first did it for my business, was that you first sign up, you have to put in your legitimate address of where your business operates from. Now, this doesn't have to be public. You don't have to have your address. So if you're working from home or something like that and you're a home-based business, you don't have to actually publish your address on the web. They'll allow you to just sort of have a general area of where you're working from. But it's one of those things that what you can do is you need your actual business address so that they can verify that you're a real business. So how they do this is they will send you out a postcard. You get that postcard in the mail after a few weeks, and it's going to have a code on it. And once you get that postcard, you log back into your business Google My Business profile. You enter that code, and now that verifies. They know that you're legit, that you're real, that you're not going to be a scammer or something like that. So once that happens, then your business profile will go live on that Google My Business. And the great thing about it is that with a lot of the searches, when people are using their phones, which is predominantly what a lot of the search is going towards now, everybody's got that computer in their pocket now, and when they go and search, because your phone has a GPS chip there built right into it, it knows your location, and it's gonna give you those search results based on your location. So when a customer's typing out lawn care businesses or lawn care services, it is going to give them the search results ranked in order of the proximity that they are towards you. So if you are targeting a specific area and you've got your business in that specific area, you can have those targeted search results coming directly to you in that specific area. And again, this is the number one thing that people have told me in interviews that I've done with other businesses. Like I said, for me, this was the turnkey item. This was the thing that took me from 0 clients to having my full day of clients throughout the week within 6 months of my first season. And it was, I think I ordered originally, just to give you guys an example, I ordered originally like 2,000 postcards to go and target a specific market I was in. And I think I put out about 200 or 300 of those postcards literally beside me on the floor in a box. I still have all those postcards because I didn't need them. I got a few calls from them. I was trying a few things, but that Google My Business over time, over and over again, that is what was bringing me those clients. Now, one of the things that I would suggest that you guys do as well is to keep track of all of those ways that you are marketing your business. So for me, all I did in my phone, in the notes section of my iPhone, I just wrote, Google My Business. I wrote my website. I wrote flyers or postcards, all the different ways that I was marketing my business. And every time I got a call from a client looking for an estimate, I would then just ask them, hey, how did you hear from us? Or how did you hear about us? And, they would let me know. And then I would go into my phone and just add a little check mark or mark or whatever the case may be beside that particular thing, whether it was Google My Business, my website, whatever the case may be. And I would keep track of those. And just throughout the year, and then year after year, you could see where all of those calls were coming from. And again, by far, it was the search engines. Google My Business would direct people directly to that first. And then the second part of it that just added that legitimacy to the business and to people's being feeling at ease, that you are somebody that they can know, like, and trust, was having the website as well. Now, a website is something that I believe is absolutely integral to having along with your Google My Business, because when people go to your Google My Business, it's limited. It's also laid out how Google wants it. Obviously, it's a basically like a template, right? So it's going to show you, the different. It's going to show you how Google wants to present your business to everybody else, right? So it's always the same kind of a basic template, but your website you can structure to make look exactly how you want. So it just adds your own look and everything to your own particular your branding and all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to see if I can bring it up here, and we'll bring that up on the screen here. So here is my particular website for my business. You can see, and now this is something that I did on my own. This isn't the original version that I started back then. This is now a newer, more modern version, but this is just using WordPress, very basic. But the important thing here is that you have a website that adds that that branding. As you can see from my shirts here, the logo and everything, it's all there on the website. It makes it the colors and all that sort of stuff. I can have some basic services to draw people in. Now the pricing and stuff like that, it's one of those things. Back in 2010, I believe it was, when I went on my own, that was the price that I was doing most lawns. But what I found here in my specific area is that a lot of the larger properties, because of just population growth and density where I live, it's absolutely ridiculous for the amount of people moving to the area. So what they've done is they've started to homes that had fairly decent properties are getting torn down, and they're building a bunch of what they call like row homes. I call them shoe boxes because they're so tiny, literally 3,000 square foot properties, where if I park in front of one of them, they kind of look like, if you guys remember from the show, the popular show, like in the 90s, Full House, or Fuller House, the remake and stuff in San Francisco, those houses called the Painted Ladies, the really skinny, kind of tall houses. That's what they kind of look like now in these row homes. So if I park in front of one of them, my truck and trailer will literally take up two properties, two like the fronts of these houses, because they're so small. So what I've done is I've left the pricing there from my original pricing of what I used to mow, a traditional normal house, which would now be in the $60 range. But I've left that pricing because there's some really tiny properties that literally take me 5 minutes to mow, and you can knock out a bunch of them on one street. So I've kept that pricing specifically for that, and you can see that it says starting at, and I'm only saying that just because I know a lot of you guys are going to be asking about the pricing there, and that's too cheap and all that sort of stuff. So it's one of those things. So as you can see with the website there, it just allows you to add links to your social media. You have your Instagram there. You can have your Google My Business reviews showing up there very easily using plugins and stuff like that. So it works in conjunction with your Google My Business page, because there will be a link there for people to go to your website. So by and far, Google My Business is the number one, but I would absolutely say that you have to have a website. And again, it doesn't have to be super expensive. You can get a website for $2 or $3 a month. And there's actually in the Google My Business, if you go into Google My Business, they do offer free websites to Google My Business owners, but it's sort of a template based, so you can't get that exact look like you're gonna see here on my website, where I can have it kind of look the way that I like here. Now I've got it, again, very basic, very simple here. You go to the services page. It's very laid out simple. Again, I have it like this because I want it to load relatively quickly on people's phones and stuff. It's I've got this template on WordPress set up where it adapts to the screen size. So if it's on a cell phone, it's going to show just those list of services there on the screen. Where on a larger screen, it's going to adapt to whatever screen size people are using. You can see if I go to my lawn mowing page there, it's going to bring up just some basics about the service that I offer there in lawn mowing. And then another important thing here is it's going to have my terms of service, right? So this is one of those things that I have listed always on all of my quotes. When I email people the quote, these are sort of the things that we kind of, any of the policies and stuff, like, early cancellation policy and things like that, that I have on there. So having your website, and then of course I've got a free estimate form there. So if people want to look for a free estimate, basically they can fill out the information there on the screen, put their name, their address, the city that they're in. You can see I only have where I work located, because originally I would have people from surrounding cities constantly sending me requests for quotes and stuff, and I didn't want to do or work in those areas. I was always thinking about that route density and all that stuff as well. So I had to whittle it down and not give people the option to change the city. And of course, they can put their phone numbers, put their email address. These are all required things that they have to do to be able to submit a request for a quote. And then you'll notice here I've got a couple of questions on this form. One of them is if the estimate or work requires access to the backyard. Are there any dogs loose in the yard during the day? And then they select yes or no. And then if the estimate or work requires access to the backyard, is the gate locked? And then they have to put, whether it's locked or unlocked. And basically what this does is when a customer is, and you'll notice here as well, that it says that if a customer fills out this request form, it's going to give, they'll have a free estimate within 7 days. So the reason I do that is because a lot of times I've found, and again, this is going to be different. If you are building your business from day one, you have 0 customers, then I would suggest that you obviously get that quote out to them right away. Again, it's that teeter-totter that I always talk about in your business. When you're first starting out your business, you're going to have more time available to you than you have work available. So when quotes are coming in and stuff like that, you want to hop on it right away. You want to answer that call right away and stuff. As your business grows and you start to have more work, then you have time available to do, new customers and stuff like that. Then you're going to have the luxury of being able to do things like this. And this is one of those examples of do as I say, not as I do. This is how I do it now, where I say customers will get a quote after 7 days or within 7 days. And the reason I do that is because if I'm on a specific street, people are going to see me, and that's generally when they're going to go and they'll see the advertising on my trailer. They'll see the website address, and then they'll head on over there to the website and they'll request a quote. Now, the thing that happens is that, I might be gone already by that time. Might have finished the job and on to the next neighborhood or wherever the case may be, and I could be gone already. Or they may, see the trailer and decide, I will request a free estimate in the evening. When they're done work or whatever the case may be. Maybe they're out running errands and they drive by the trailer in a neighborhood and they see it. So they go to the website and they request a free estimate. So the reason that I have that, they'll get the within 7 days is because, like I said, I might be off to another neighborhood. It might be the next day when I get their request, and I'm not going to drive back to that specific neighborhood just to go take a look at the property and give them an estimate. So that's why, for me, I put that they'll get a free estimate within 7 days, because that gives me the opportunity within that week that at the worst case scenario, if I'm just completely swamped and I've got no time, well, I'll be back on that street again, in 7 days to do the weekly cuts for all of my clients on that particular street. But it gives me the opportunity to either check, Google Street View and things like that, or because my route density is so good, after all these years that I can literally take lawns from one day and move them to the next day, and the root density would still be fantastic because it's obviously been building over the past 12 years of when I've been on my own, or 13 years, whatever it's been since yeah, whatever the case it may be, that I've been building that root density that I can actually interchange a lot of them. So for me, it works out great having this. But for you, if you're starting out from scratch, then I would absolutely answer those calls right away and do that. The number one thing that I found when customers were calling me, especially early on, was a lot of them would say, you're the first one to actually answer the phone. The businesses around you could be so swamped, and that's the beauty of having a lawn care business, is that once you build those relationships with those clients that know, like, and trust you, that they tend to stick with you year after year after year, and you're not going to need as many clients moving forward. It's reoccurring, and it's another reason for me personally why I left the franchise system, because I started to see that as well, that not only was I having to do all the marketing myself anyways, but it was like, well, I started to look at these established franchisees that may have been in that franchise for many years, and they weren't taking on more work. They were off the list, as they would call it, for taking on work, and they were still having to pay all those franchise fees and all that stuff perpetually, forever, every month, cutting that check to that franchise company. And I just thought that's just kind of crazy to have to do that. So it's one of those things. Another motivating factor on why I left. So number one growth strategy is the Google My Business. Absolutely make sure you head over to Google and you fill out one of those that form there, fill that out, and again, you can see there from sort of that mobile view there, it's going to give you whatever photo that you can set there on your Google My Business. It's got your phone number. People can call you directly from that. They can go to your website, and they can check out, importantly, the reviews that your clients will have. Now, the Google reviews are absolutely important, super fantastic, but I'm going to give you guys a tip, and that is, do not ask your clients for reviews. It's one of those things, at least I would say, don't ask for them for reviews on Google all at once. Spread it out if you're going to ask your clients. Obviously, you're going to have clients that are really good, that really like you, that genuinely really appreciate you. I have a bunch of them myself that come out. They are always there greeting me each week and all that sort of stuff. And those are obviously the type of people you want to target to leave you reviews on Google. But what I found was, I went through a period where I was asking clients if they could leave me a review, and it wasn't a fake review. I just knew that they were going to leave me a positive review because they were always so happy with the work I was doing. They were always so pleased to see me. But what I found was that Google flagged them because they all came in sort of a 1 week period. I got, from having like no reviews, and then I asked a bunch of clients for reviews, that they showed up initially when that client first left that review, and then they all disappeared. And from what I've read and researched, is that Google will flag them, and basically Google thinks that they're fake because they're all coming in at the same time, even though they're genuine, real reviews. It's just because they were all at the same time. So my tip for you guys would be, don't go out there and ask all of your clients for reviews at the same time. Make sure you kind of spread it out over the season, 1 or 2 a month, that sort of thing, and just kind of do it that way, especially if you're just starting out. If you've gotten already a pretty good customer base and all that sort of stuff, and you haven't done any of this, Google My Business or anything like that, then you don't want to be asking all of your clients for a review right away, because they will get flagged as potentially, in Google's eyes, with them thinking that they are fake. So you don't want to do that. Make sure you spread those out. So the next thing that I would say to do for sure in your lawn care business is to make sure that you guys are leveraging social media to the best of your ability. Again, this is one of those things, an example of the do as I say, not as I do. You'll notice here, this is my Cloverdale mowing Instagram page, and a lot of these photos here, if you were to go into them, you'll see that they haven't been updated in a bit. And again, it's because I'm not currently looking for more clients, not actively at least. So it's one of those things. But if you are building your client base, then this is an absolutely fantastic strategy as well. For me, my whole thing when I was first starting out was I wanted to blanket my company name, my branding, everywhere I was on social media. Along with that targeting of root density and making sure that my root density was very, very good. This was another, for me, basically, of kind of doing that online, of having, wherever the customer was, whatever platform they were on, to be able to do that. Now, of course, when I first started, there was no Instagram or things like that. So a lot of this stuff came along after. One of the things that I didn't utilize as much as I initially thought I was going to was Facebook. And so we'll look at here. This is my my Facebook profile for my particular business, and you can see again, I pretty much almost abandoned this the first year, only because my growth was so exponential in that first 6 months that I became from 0 clients to having a full load for myself as a solo operator, and not needing to have any more clients, that I kind of left a lot of these strategies away. But actually, in my podcast today that came out this morning, if you guys want to check that out, the guest that I was talking about shared a fantastic tip about his Facebook and using Facebook groups, and this is something that I've talked about as well on the podcast. But he had a unique little twist. And that's Martin Hodder from Hodder Landscaping. That particular podcast episode actually came out today. If you guys want to head on over to the podcast, download that episode and check it out. But he talks about how he utilizes Facebook groups. Now, Facebook is one of those things you can pay for advertising and stuff like that, and Facebook is very powerful because you can put your ads and things like that right in front of the clients in a specific area, the age group, whatever. You can target exactly what you want. But using Facebook groups is a great way to market your business as well, because it's free. So you can target specific neighborhoods. Most neighborhoods will have a particular Facebook group for that neighborhood. Now, you'll have to check to see what the rules are around advertising your businesses and stuff, and some may not allow it to put a little special or whatever the case may be for your particular business, like this particular one here that I did many years ago when I was first starting out, where I was advertising mowing, and this was an ad that I posted, but then I could also like insert into certain Facebook groups and things like that. So you have to check the rules for the particular Facebook group that you are trying to join to be able to advertise your business in those particular groups. But what I found was constantly, even if you weren't allowed to post anything like these types of homemade type ads in a particular Facebook group, there was always people in that group asking for if anybody has a recommendation for a lawn mowing company or a landscaping company or whatever the case may be. And that's, that prime opportunity where you can jump in there and introduce yourself and just say, hey, I own this and such company. I've been servicing your area for however long. So even though you can't, in some groups it's completely fine to add your, add a little ad or something like this, as long as you are not like spamming the group constantly or things like that. But in other scenarios where they don't specifically allow you to do something like that, then this is a great alternative to just join those Facebook groups and just, kind of silently be there in the background. If you can obviously engage in that group, whatever the case may be, even if it's not lawn care related, but people ask questions about whatever the case may be, of something pertaining to the neighborhood, then obviously that's fantastic as well to be able to do something like that and have you be able to interact with that, because then you start to become known for helping out the community and stuff like that. And it's one of those know, like, and trust sort of aspects. But the tip that Martin Hodder shared with me from Hodder Landscaping on the podcast episode where I interviewed him, it just came out this morning, and it was something that actually blew my mind. Just the strategy that he did was that in like Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, what he would do is he would run contests for free mowing, for example, or free aerations and things like that. So you've seen these contests around where people want to build followers and things like that. So basically what he would do is he would have basically a contest where people can join the contest and to win, an aeration package or fertilizing package or whatever the case may be. And he would target these specific groups where he would do that. The brilliance of this is that for people to enter into the contest, they would have to, put in their email and all that sort of stuff to get, entered into that contest. And then at the end of it, one person would win whatever the package was, whether it was an aeration package or whatever the case may be. But the brilliant part about this is that obviously it generated a bunch of buzz, because he would do the whole, to enter, you do this and then share this with 2 friends or whatever the case may be. So people would share it, and who doesn't want, a free opportunity to maybe get free aeration or free lawn mowing or whatever the case may be. So people would share it. And then those people would share it. And, a lot of those people are in the targeted area that you're looking for. At the end of it, one person would win the aeration or whatever the case may be. And yes, you're going to go out there and you're going to do that free aeration or free lawn mowing or whatever the case may be. But that is the cost of advertising. That would be no different than you paying for ads to be run, right? Except it's probably a lot cheaper for you to just go out and do a specific little aeration job or whatever the case may be. Now, the brilliance about this is that not only does it give you the exposure of having all these people in those targeted areas, those targeted Facebook groups and stuff like that, being able to, try to win free aeration and stuff, but it also allowed you then to see who entered into that specific giveaway, and he would then go through it and look and then message them back, message everybody else who didn't win. Now this is the brilliant part. He would message everybody else who didn't win the package and say, hey, thanks for trying to win the package. I really appreciate your interest. Unfortunately, you didn't win, but I've got this special offer for you. If you would like me to aerate your lawn, here's a 30% discount if you book now. And he would build customers that way. And I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. It just blew my mind, just sort of that next level thinking of it and being able to market your business. Definitely one of those guerrilla marketing tactics that I know a lot of you guys love. I know for me, I love guerrilla marketing. It's one of those things that is absolutely fantastic. For those of you guys that don't know, guerrilla marketing is one of those. It's basically marketing your business in sort of out of the box type thinking ways, right? So thinking of different things, because you don't have the budget to compete with the big Nikes and Apples and all that stuff that would do all the sort of traditional marketing methods of running newspaper ads and print ads and TV commercials and things like that. So how do you, as a small business owner, a solo operator and stuff like that, market your business? Well, that's where that guerrilla marketing comes in, right? Thinking of those outside of the box types of ways. So, again, number one, Google My Business is that the number one thing you absolutely have to do this for your business. If you're not doing it, it's a game changer. That's a term that's used all the time in businesses, but this is absolutely a game changer. Is the Google My Business. It's a thing that took me from zero to a full client list in 6 months when I left that franchise system, starting from scratch in a completely different area. The website, having my company a website again, is one of those things. Just something that works in conjunction with all of that. Again, just one of those things that it just works. It has that company branding, all that sort of stuff, and it just adds that legitimacy to your business. If you're pulling up to, you get a client that call you for a quote, and they've done their research, they've seen your Google My Business, they go to your website that's linked to it, they can see instantly, they're hit with the branding, right? So the company colors, for me, it's the sort of the lime, the green, the white. I modeled this after the Monster Energy drink cans. Back when I started the business, I loved those three colors, and it was one of those things. So instantly a customer is hit with that, right? They're seeing the branding right away. They're going into that. Now, there's a couple of other things here on this website that add to that legitimacy. Can you guys guess what it is here? If you're looking at this instantly, what is one thing that you see here without me even scrolling to any other part of the website, just in what we see visible here? Is there anybody that can let me know in the comments there? What's something here that would add legitimacy to the business? And I'll give you guys a second to look at that. Well, we got Tingles Lawn Service. So it's the Visa and MasterCard logos there. So that is something that is going to add legitimacy, right? It's something that a lot of businesses aren't going to have. They're not going to take credit cards, especially in this industry. They're going to be, cash under the table. That's that sort of thing. A lot of businesses are like that. So you can separate yourself from the competition by being able to accept credit cards and stuff like that. So that's another thing that is going to add that legitimacy to your business when you're first starting out and people don't know you. So instantly they're coming to the website, they're seeing the branding, they're seeing the colors, all that sort of stuff. It starts with that Google My Business when they're doing that first initial search, and it's that location-based search. So they're going to see the businesses that are close to them at the time of them searching. That's going to lead them to your Google My Business page. Hopefully you're going to have some good reviews on there. And then that's going to lead them to the website. They're going to see the website there. They're introduced there with the brand. As they scroll through, they're going to see that Visa, MasterCard. That's going to stand out to them as something that is kind of different than maybe some other companies. And then they're going to see the trailer. They're going to see the uniforms that I'm wearing, and it just adds to that legitimacy. Now, this is something that literally I've told this story as well on the podcast, and it is a time where I went. Actually, there's a couple of things, a couple of stories I'll share, and this is something, if you're listening to me on the podcast, you would have heard these stories as well. But there was a time when we first started out, and there was a large auto mall, they call it. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but it's just a collection of car dealerships: a Ford, Chrysler, Chevy, maybe a Honda, Toyota, all in the same location, a bunch of dealerships. And they were asking for a quote on the maintenance of that entire property. And so we had a meeting to go meet the property manager of that particular property. He was at the dealership. So because it was a large job, both me and my brother-in-law were going to partner up on this particular job. And so we thought, well, we better go to this meeting together. But we were both working at different spots. And if a lot of you guys know, my brother-in-law operates his own business as well, but he operates it under the same name as my business. So we have matching trailers and all that sort of stuff. So we pulled up to this auto mall. We had to, as we came up the street, we were waiting to turn left to go into the auto mall. I turned in with my truck and trailer. He pulled in with his truck and trailer right behind me. And we went in, and we're told where to find the manager. We went in. And the first thing the manager said to us was, "Hey, I like your shirts." He saw the shirts there with the embroidered logos. And then he said, "I saw your trailers pulling in." He says, "You guys look like something I'd find on Dragon's Den." Now, if you guys aren't familiar with what Dragon's Den is, it's basically Canada's version of Shark Tank. And for me, that was like, he couldn't have said anything nicer to me than that. After the months and months of planning and thinking about branding and thinking about the colors and the shirts and all of that research I had done, to have somebody say that to me, that that we looked like that, something that he would expect to see on TV as some startup company starting out, that was just like magic to my ears. Now, throughout the year, I had other people come up to me asking me while I was working if there was franchises available for sale, because they said, they looked like I was a franchise company. And obviously I was influenced by that initial franchise company that I worked in. But it's one of those things that added to that legitimacy. Now, the other story, the third one, and sort of the most important one to get this point across in building your business with the branding and marketing and that guerrilla marketing, having people lead you and going to that website and seeing your website, seeing your branding, is they start to get that picture. They start to see your business and start to see what to expect. They can see the uniform, see the trailer, all that sort of stuff. I pulled up to a client, and again, I do Visa and MasterCard, and for my particular business, that's the only form of payment that I take in my business is Visa or MasterCard. So, I went to do a quote on this client and looked around the property, gave her a price. At the time, this was before I was doing email quotes and stuff. So I was just, as I was talking to the client, I would tell them the price and stuff, and told them that I needed their credit card. And she pulled out her wallet and she handed me her credit card. And just as she handed it to me and I, put my hand on the other side, it was kind of like a tug of war there for a couple of seconds. And she just said, "This is crazy. I've only known you for 5 minutes and I'm already giving you my credit card." But then here's the key. She says, "But I can tell by your shirts and your trailer and stuff that you're not going anywhere." And that was, again, just magic to my ears, of the power of branding, of the power of looking professional, the power of having a website that initially she sent her request through. It's just legitimate. She knows that trust is instantly there. She's only talked to me for 5 minutes, but she knows, based on all this, the effort that went into this, the effort of having uniforms and trailers and branding and all that set up, is going to instantly build that trust. It's going to put you apart, set you apart from a lot of those other companies around you, your competition. So it's super important to, I feel, to have your website in conjunction with the Google My Business, especially if you're just starting out, because again, Google My Business is great. It's the number one thing that's going to drive clients to you that are searching for new lawn care businesses. But that website in conjunction with, because they can link right from Google My Business to the website, it then just brings them into how you want them to perceive your business, right? They can see exactly what your business, your colors, your branding, all that sort of stuff. So you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward, and you have that as well. So again, just to recap, we've got the Google My Business, we have the website, Instagram and Facebook, especially if you're just starting out and you're looking for that. I've talked about a couple of interesting examples. Again, like on today's podcast episode, if you guys listen to, and I'll just quickly look up episode number 442 with Martin Hodder from Hodder Landscaping. So he's the one that shared that tip on running contests through Facebook groups and Instagram and stuff like that, and how he uses that to target clients. So absolutely a fantastic tip there. And the last but not least sort of thing is just to pound the pavement, basically. Again, on that teeter-totter when you're first starting out, right? So if you've got more time than you have work that you can do, then going out there, getting, flyers, postcards are my favorite to use from Vistaprint. Very inexpensive to get a nice full color postcard. Again, I utilize my branding in that in those postcards, where I'll have the logos and all that sort of stuff, so it all matches the website. It all looks like the trailer, the uniforms, all that sort of stuff. And I would go door to door and just drop them off on houses in those neighborhoods that you specifically want to target. Now, here's another quick little tip of something that I have done in the past that I would absolutely pass along to you guys to do as advice. And this is coming from somebody who is, of course, an introvert, is to make sure that you guys, if you do see anybody on those properties as you're walking up to them, to make sure you engage with them. Now you're going to get people that, and this just, simply saying hello. Everybody, can be kind of skeptical at times when somebody's coming up on their property and walking on their property and stuff like that. But one of the key things you can do is just say hello to them. Just say, hey, I'm just, started a lawn care business in the area, and just marketing, dropping off some flyers and stuff. Now I've had people say, oh, that's okay, I just mow my lawn myself, don't waste your flyer, don't, sort of thing. And they want to kind of like brush you off and stuff like that. And your first initial kind of instinct is to be like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem, yeah, sorry, yeah, sort of thing, right? But I would flip the script on them, and I found this to work brilliantly. And I would say, oh, okay, that's no problem. Well, can you do me a favor then? I would say, can you just hang on to this flyer then? And if, even though you don't need lawn care, maybe one of your friends or family will in, the coming months. And just hang on to this for me, and then pass along my information if you hear. And I never once had one person who initially told me as I was walking up the driveway, to save my flyer or whatever. When I came at them with that they would say, oh, yeah, no, just keep it, I don't want it, sort of thing, right? They're all like, okay, right, sort of thing, right? Because what harm does it? What harm? There's no harm in that, right? You're not pressuring them for high, tactic sales and things like that, and you're acknowledging, okay, that's fine. You don't need lawn care, but maybe one of your friends or family will in the next few months, as spring is gearing up and all that sort of stuff. So if you could just hang on to this and maybe just pass it along. Now, once you do that, like I said, I haven't had anybody in the years that I was doing this ever say no, not to do that. But I had the opposite, is that they did, and a few months later, inevitably, I'd always get calls from those same people that either passed along information, or from other people who said that they got my number from that person that you dropped off a flyer to. And I would think back and go, oh yeah, and they'd say, they live on whatever such and such street, or on the corner, or whatever the case may be, or my neighbor across the street. And inevitably, I'd go and do a quote, and they'd be like, yeah, my neighbor over there gave me your flyer, or whatever the case may be. or a friend or family, right? And it was one of those things. It was like brilliant, like, even if they're defensive at first and all that sort of stuff, to just tell them that's okay. I understand that you don't need lawn care right now, or you're not interested, but just hang on to my flyer anyways, right? So always engage the people that you see. Now, if you're brave and you want to do door knocking, this is something that I never did, was not actually knocking on the doors. I would just talk to people if I saw them. If they weren't at the door, I didn't knock at the doors. It's just something that I didn't like doing. I don't like when people come to my door, salespeople, and bother me. So I don't do that to other people. But again, if they're outside washing their car or whatever the case may be. Now, here's another tip for you guys. Something that has also worked brilliantly for me when you're going door to door in those specific targeting those neighborhoods. And again, it's something, the key to clients, the key to having clients is relationships, is to building those relationships with people. And to build those relationships, those people have to know, like, and trust you. Those are the three big things. They need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you, right? It is the key to the clients that I've had over the past 18 years in my lawn care business, to the point now that I don't even quote my regular clients a price to do anything anymore. If they come up to me and they ask me, hey, they need a hedge trimmed, or they want a tree trimmed, or whatever the case may be, they just say, hey, can you trim that hedge for me whenever you get a chance? They don't ask me how much it's going to cost to trim, because they know me, they like me, and they trust me. They know I'm not going to rip them off. They know the quality of my work, and they know that I'm going to do a good job. So it's one of those things. So the know, like, and trust factor. So how can you build that know, like, and trust factor with somebody that you're just meeting for the first time? And here is what I learned, and it was kind of a breakthrough moment for me, especially being introverted and being so shy, was forcing myself to talk to those clients when I was going door to door. And again, I wasn't knocking on their doors. It was just the people that I would see outside. Again, I don't like knocking on doors, because I don't like when people come and bother me when they're knocking on doors and trying to sell me stuff. And I'll rarely answer the door if somebody's knocking on the door. So just in respect for other people, I don't do it. But if people are outside already, whether they're gardening, or they're playing with their kids, or they're washing their car or stuff like that, one key thing that I started to do was I started to scan their properties very quickly for whatever the case may be, whether it was their pet that was outside, whether it was their car, their classic car, their boat, whatever the case may be. Just as I was walking that neighborhood, maybe delivering those flyers or whatever the case may be to their neighbors' houses, and I could see them out there washing their car or whatever the case may be, as I approached their house, I already had a target object of discussion in my mind about them specifically. Now, here's the thing, is everybody likes to talk about themselves, whether it's talking about their kids, their pets, their boat, their classic car, whatever the case may be. So pick something out that you see on their property, and you're going to be selling by not selling. So you're not even going to talk about lawn care or anything like that. Of course, the topic will come up. If they, again, you're going to break the ice by saying, if they say, can I help you or something, say specifically. So we'll take the example of somebody washing their car. So you're approaching somebody's house, they're washing their car, and they're going to say, hey, can I help you? And you just say, hey, I'm, going and just, I'm a business owner. I've got a lawn care business, just dropping off flyers, trying to build up my customer base, right? So then they hit you with the, I don't need lawn care. I mow my own lawn. Save your flyer. So then you go into the, oh, that's fine, that's great, but can you do me a favor? Can you just hang on to this flyer? And, I understand that you don't need the lawn care, but maybe one of your friends or family needs it in the coming months. And you go through that script that I talked about earlier, and they say, okay, that's fine, right? Because now they've let their guard down. They know that you know and understand that they don't need lawn care. Now, here's your next step to kind of solidify that part, that they're going to share that flyer, that they're going to keep it and share it, and also that you are going to be the person that they call in the future. And that's targeting that item, whatever the case it is, whatever it is that you see on their particular property, whether it's a boat, a car, a dog, whatever the case may be. And I'll give an example I saw with one of these clients. I was dropping off the flyers, went through that whole scenario, but what I noticed was their garage door was open, and inside their garage was a 1965 Corvette Stingray. And beautiful car, absolutely pristine, perfect car sitting there. And I'm a huge fan of Corvettes. I've loved them since I was a kid. One of my favorite cars. Had posters on my walls of all the different years and body styles of Corvettes and stuff. So it was something I could relate to as well, which is a bonus. But even if it's not, just using your inquisitive mind and asking them about that specific vehicle or boat or whatever the case may be. And I said to them, hey, that's an awesome Corvette. What year is it? And I already knew in my mind by the fins on the side, the air vents and things like that, what sort of year it was. But I just asked them anyways, what year Corvette is that, right? And then instantly this gentleman's eyes perked up and he started talking about his car. We spent the next half an hour talking about his car. He gave me a tour of the car, talked about everything about the car and all that sort of stuff. And it became now, from 30 minutes earlier to not knowing this person, to him being kind of defensive that I'm coming up on his driveway, to 30 minutes later, I'm now his best friend. And he's talking about me, with the car and all that sort of stuff. And we're going about all the work that's been done on the car and all that sort of stuff. This is obviously his passion, was this Corvette. So me talking about his Corvette instantly gave him that. Now he knows me. He knows who I am. He knows I've introduced myself. He knows my business name. Now he likes me. He likes me because I've talked about his car and all that. So he's been talking about his car and all that sort of stuff. Now he likes me. Here's the key. He told me he didn't like or didn't need lawn care. And I acknowledged that. And I said, hey, just keep my flyer anyways and pass it along to friends. So I was not pressuring him. Now he trusts me. Know, like, trust. So guess who got a call, a month later for trimming trees and stuff like that? This guy. From that guy. So that's the thing. You always hear about people saying, I got a guy. Well, how do you become that guy? How do you become people's lawn care guy when you're first coming up on the scene? It's that branding, to build that know, like, and trust. Going out there and talking to them and doing all that sort of stuff is just one of those things that's absolutely fantastic. So thank you for somebody who sent the balloons there. That was quite nice. But yeah, that's one of those things that builds your know, like, and trust. And it's one of those tips and kind of I wouldn't say it's a secret, but it's something you wouldn't normally think of, but it's something that dawned on me, especially being very shy and introverted and not really wanting to talk to people and things like that I was able to, go through and see that firsthand, that, putting myself out there and getting over that introvertness and all that stuff really paid dividends, and kind of working those strategies of, just genuinely talking to people about the things that you see, whether it's the boat on the driveway and things like that. And you can do this even when you're not dropping off flyers, even, all that. I've done that. I've got a couple of, client properties that I do on a weekly basis that, I see the neighbors out there all the time. And again, it's one of those things where, occasionally, you would say hi and stuff like that, but then you start to chat to them about, things on their property and stuff like that. And then you become that person. You become that person that they now know, and they're going to recommend you to their friends and stuff. If you're just joining, today's topic is lawn care business growth strategies for 2024. And I've been having a good time with that, talking about that. So let's see, we got a few comments out here. So yeah, Andrew Martinez. says, wow, the gall of some people. Sorry that happened to you. So that was quite a bit back there, that comment. So I'm guessing you're referring to my story of um, when I was talking about working and my wife having her second baby, and being told that the time that I had requested off months in advance was not going to happen, and that if I didn't like it and if I didn't show up for work, even though I had been approved for a vacation, or parental time off to have with my wife and new baby, that not to bother coming back the next day. And that was my that moment for me, that why I decided to go into business for myself, and that promise that I made to myself 19 years ago now, that I would never ever work for somebody else again in my life. So the goal of people to do stuff like that. Paul Camara is in the house. Paul says, "Hey Julio, how's it going, buddy?" I'm doing good, Paul. How are you? Happy New Year to my Portuguese brother from another mother. That's awesome. Thanks for stopping in and popping in and saying hi. Fantastic. And I am Lion says, "Hey bud, hey, how's it going? How are you? Happy New Year to you as well." Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for joining in. So back to the beginning, some of the comments that I initially got in right away. I'm not sure if these people are still here or not, but I said I would get to some of those questions. So Nicholas Kaiswetter says, "How much do you charge?" So that's a whole other live stream that I could go into on charging. As we saw from, let me just pull it up here. As you see from my website here, initially I had started my business when I went on my own. I was charging $30 for lawn mowing, and that was covering the majority of properties, and these were like 7,000 to 8,000 properties. But this is 2010 that I actually made this little graphic here, and was using it on the first version of my website, and I continued it on this website, the current one, only because, as I explained, the demographics and properties have been changing where I live. So a lot of the properties now are much smaller. So the area that I live in is it's kind of a historic farming type town, yet it's full of suburbs and stuff like that. I live in a subdivision and things like that. So there's all these subdivisions everywhere. But when I first moved here, the draw of it was sort of that kind of country type life sort of thing. So there was lots of hobby farms still around. Even in my own neighborhood, there was farms where there'd be geese and stuff running around, and they'd get loose sometimes and be walking down the neighborhood. There's a couple of properties that have horses and stuff, and they'll ride their horses through the subdivision that I live in, right? I'll go out for a walk sometimes, or mow lawns and stuff, and they'll be horseback riding right down the middle of the street in the subdivision. So it's kind of that sort of that really nice kind of quaint sort of town still, but in sort of a subdivision sort of thing. But what's happened is, as those types of properties, of those types of people have moved away, those larger properties, because real estate here is just so ridiculously priced. The average home in the suburb, not even in the main city, in the suburb that I live in, the average home is 1.5 million. In the main city of Vancouver, you're not getting a home for lower than $2.5 million. So it's absolutely bonkers. And yet the population growth here is ridiculous. It has changed so much in just the 10 or 11 years, 12 years that I moved from when I was with that franchise system, and I moved to this part of the city in sort of the more farmland area. It's changed so much that this is now turning into sort of just a regular dense city with tons of houses and stuff. So as those larger properties, those hobby farms and things like that have gone up for sale, they've been sold and re-subdivided into row homes, and these are just tiny little houses. I always refer to them as shoebox homes. So I've kept that initial pricing that I had 12 years ago, starting at $30, because of those homes. The average houses that I'm doing now, that initially, that $30 pricing that you see on the website there, where this would have been a traditional, 7 or 8,000 square foot property when I started. You'll see now that that's based on 1,000 square feet of lawn now, right? Because these properties now can be 3,000 square foot properties in total, including the house, the back, patio, the garage in the back, all on like a 3,000 square foot piece of property. So just absolutely tiny, less than half of what the normal homes or sort of standard homes would be in this area. Between 7 to 10,000 square foot is what they were traditionally here, and then they had those outliers of sort of the hobby farm and stuff. So I have my pricing to get sort of back to you, your question there on how much do I charge. I had initially, I started at $30, but it's basically just for those. Now, originally, every year I think about raising the price and raising the price, but with those types of properties, they're so small, it literally takes 5 minutes or so to mow. They're just absolutely tiny. It's a couple of passes with a 21-inch mower. Sometimes, you go to the backyard and it's not even worth taking a 21-inch mower there. It's just like this little strip of grass in the back that you can use, your weed whacker with. So I've kept that pricing with the caveat of it starting at that. So when people go to the website, they see that it's starting at $30 and based on 1,000 square feet. So, it kind of, it targets that, those really tiny homes. But the average price that I'm charging is $50 to $60 for the average house that I'm charging. But of course, every business is going to be different. So it's I wouldn't just go out and copy pricing and stuff like that from people, because everybody's business expenses are going to be different. Everybody's requirements or insurance and all that sort of stuff is all going to be different. So it's one of those things. You have to, as they say all the time, you hear from everybody, is knowing your numbers, right? So going through that, and that's a whole, other episode that I can do, a whole other live talk about knowing your numbers and how you can determine that to see what your costs are going to be. So Andrew Martinez, how's it going, buddy? He says, hey, pal, Happy New Year to you. If you're still hanging out, make sure you guys check out Andrew and his podcast as well. He's got a fantastic podcast as well that he does all the time. The Lone Star Lawn Care Talk podcast, if I've got that correct. Tyler the Gamer. How can I get started in lawn care and landscaping business, and how to brand my company and how to grow? Well, hopefully if you were here for the entire live stream, you would have heard a lot of that covered there. How to get you started in lawn care. So it just depends on where you're at. You can, lawn care is one of those things, and one of the reasons I really love lawn care as a business is because you can make it whatever you want. You can, it's one of the things that initially drew me to, before I was, a legitimate lawn care business. And I was working at that other job that I talked about in the past. I dabbled in lawn care. I had a, I was that guy that had just my homeowner 21-inch MTD lawnmower with a rear bagger. And I had, what was it? A $99 weed eater, like your basic curve shaft, super, the cheapest of the cheap, at Home Depot weed eater. I had one of those, and it was one of those things that, doing my own lawn at home at my previous property that I lived at. It was one of those things where I was just like, oh, like, yeah, I'm the man, right? Sort of thing. I've got a gas powered weed eater. Everybody had electric corded weed eaters and stuff, homeowners. So I had the $99 weed eater and stuff, and I thought, well, this would be cool. Like, I could be a landscaper, sort of thing. So initially, I started out landscaping or lawn care by just putting flyers out. Now, this is many years before I actually took the plunge and built a business. This was just on the side, and it kind of planted the seed for me. But it was one of those things where I just, went to a home. I made some flyers on my printer. I literally took a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, sort of that size sheet of paper, divided it in half, and I printed that out with two flyers side by side so that I could cut that piece of paper in half and have two flyers. And basically all it said was like lawn mowing, $15 and up. $15 and up. That's how much of a noob I was. I had no idea, no clue, no nothing, right? I had a $99 weed eater. What do you expect? So I would go around and just staple them to telephone poles and stuff like that, and that was it, because it wasn't something that I wasn't trying to build a business even. It was like a hobby. It was just kind of like, yeah, like I'm a lawn care business sort of thing, but it wasn't even legit. I didn't have a business license. I didn't have my business name registered. It was nothing. There was nothing. It was just a piece of paper. I didn't even have a blower. I had a broom. Took a corn broom with me. And that's how I got started. I had a 1988 at the time Mazda B2200 pickup that I had bought and used, and that's how I got started. And you'll hear that. Now, I didn't transition from there. I got started. I actually built some clients. I did regular mowing, but it wasn't like on my own sort of terms, I guess you could say. It was like I did these clients regularly because I mowed their lawns multiple times, but it wasn't on a regular basis. It wasn't like every week I'm showing up. It was like they would call me and say, hey, can you come mow my lawn? So I'd go and mow their lawn for $15. And then, a couple, 2 or 3 weeks later, they call back, hey, my lawn needs a cut again. Can you come back? And it was just that sort of a thing. But I wasn't relying on the income at the time. It wasn't something that I needed because I had that other job, and everything was fine with that other job. This was just something that I could dabble in on those days off. And initially or eventually I decided to not do it anymore. I think I did it for one season, kind of just a handful of clients here and there, and then the winter came. I stopped doing lawn care for the winter, and then I just didn't continue again the next year. Work, my other full-time job or whatever the case may be, even though it wasn't full-time, I was just getting like full-time hours, just not the benefits of being called full-time. That just got really busy, and I was doing that, so I didn't have the time to continue it. So it was only a couple years later when things started to change in that business, in the company that I worked for and stuff like that, that I started to go sour, that I wanted to branch out and take being lawn care or a business seriously, and lawn care was one of those things amongst those other factors that I talked about at the start of this live stream here, about seeing that other company around, that franchise company, and seeing their trailers everywhere, and and saying inquire for franchises and stuff like that, and kind of the whole reasons that I discussed in the beginning of what initially drew me to buying a franchise lawn care business in the first place, in those first 5 years before leaving and deciding that I could do it better on my own. But it's getting started in lawn care. It's everything that I've talked about here in this particular thing. If you've got the equipment, then just what we discussed here. Google My Business, build a website. A website can be done very inexpensively, like I said, a couple bucks a month. If you've never had any experience building websites, if you go to here on my YouTube channel, go through my content, my videos, scroll all the way back down in history to like one of the very first videos I did in the first year. I do a step-by-step tutorial on how to build a WordPress website for your business. That pretty much will basically get you using WordPress, which is the key there, because that makes it very simple, but it'll pretty much get you a website that looks exactly like this. In fact, I use the same template and everything in this website here to walk through a particular example here. So let me see here, actually. Let me see if I still have. Yeah, so I still actually have it up there, so I'll bring that back. So this is the actual initial example here. This is still a website that you can go to and visit, and you can see it's very, very basic. It's got some basic pages set up here, and this website here is the culmination of that video that talks about how to build a WordPress website step by step. Now you can see it looks very similar to my current website that I use, just the pictures are different and stuff. But in that video, if you have no experience building a website, you can follow along, and that video is actually building this particular website that you see on the page, and you'll get a very you can get your website to be very similar. I've actually had people in the past tell me that they had no experience building a website or anything like that, and they followed my website, or followed that video that I did, and were able to build a website based on that particular video with that example there. So Tyler says, I am in the state of Virginia. Fantastic. I think that is, if I remember correctly, I think that's where Naylor Teleferro is, lawn care rookie. So that might be a good resource for you as well, to check out Lawn Care Rookie's website, or his YouTube. Might be a great resource for you to be able to check out. Let's see if I can bring that up for you. Being similar, in a similar area as you, he would be a good one to check out, because of course, being from the same state as well, you might be able to get some good tips and stuff from him. So I would go check out LCR, the Lawn Care Rookie, and go check him out, because I'm pretty sure he's from Virginia. He's got lots of good content out as well, so maybe go check that out. But yeah, just follow sort of the tips that we kind of covered in this particular video, and go from there. Those are some proven strategies, like I've talked about in the past. Over the past 18 years, those are the things that have worked for me. And just, like I said, a lot of these examples in this particular video here are things that, as I said, do as I say, not as I do, because a lot of stuff I don't even do anymore because I don't need to anymore. My business is pretty much on autopilot in terms of, getting new clients and things like that. I'm pretty much at capacity every year after year. It's the same clients that I'm serving year after year for many years at a time. Some clients I've had since the very beginning of starting my brand in 2010 after I left that franchise system. So, I'm only now really replacing clients that either move away or, unfortunately, in the last few years, I've had a few pass away. So it's one of those things where, it's just, one of those things, right? So that's why a lot of these things you'll notice from my Facebook page and even my Instagram and stuff, and my YouTube channel that I started for my lawn care business, that I don't even do anything. There's no new content or anything being put out on those because I'm not actively seeking new clients for the lawn care business, because everything is just basically on autopilot. So I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this one here. If you guys want some more content, obviously I do content in different forms. You can follow me there on Instagram as well, Lawn Care Business Success. Of course, if you're following me here on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and you hit that notification bell. That way you'll see when these lives pop up. I plan to do a bunch more of these lives more consistently, more regularly. It's something that I'm enjoying kind of figuring out and learning, even though it's kind of on the fly and different moving pieces and stuff like that, and not yet on a sort of schedule that I can figure out when I can do it. I'm sort of just popping in and doing them when I have time, when the house is available, with no one around and no distractions and things like that. So the best way to know when I'm going to do that is to hit that notification bell, so that you're notified right away when I do these, if you're available. Again, of course, like I said, you can check out Instagram, my YouTube channel, of course, and I've been starting some stuff on TikTok, but not as regularly as the others. And then, of course, there is my Lawn Care Business Success podcast. Every Tuesday since 2015, there's a new episode out available there. So I think that is going to wrap it up for this one, guys. I appreciate you guys hopping on little to no notice here on YouTube. I appreciated the questions that you guys have had and any of the comments and stuff. And hopefully you guys have a fantastic 2024, and stay tuned for the next live broadcast coming at some point here in the near future.